Yo, what's up bros? Hope you're doing great. As always, a mandatory thank you for the immense support. This last Sunday we hit 10k subs in less than 30 days on YouTube, and if you continue to grow at this speed, we're hitting 20k subs by the upcoming Sunday, so double the amount in just a week. You bros are simply awesome. If you're new here, subscribe now to become a bro today, and because I post daily videos, and also I read all the comments, so hit me up down there broskis, and enjoy in the video. This is part 18. If you want to know what happened before, you can find previous parts in the description of this video. Now we see Joseph as he exits the library and gets overwhelmed by his emotions, feeling nostalgic like never before, but decides to calm down. He stops and takes a deep breath. As he clenches his iron fist, he thinks how he didn't feel this alive for a long time now, because he's been having to deal with the curse of Candela for almost his entire life and had to protect his mind from its maddening whispers, which has caused him terrible headaches and made it so hard for him to keep his head cool, which would cause him to go on anger fits often, also resulting in him having less power because he couldn't maintain the discipline over his power. He remembers how because of these problems he even lost his right arm after the battle with Old Wild, but now, finally after so long, and once and for all, the curse is gone thanks to Mr. Lin, who literally ate it, is what Joseph is thinking. Joseph feels like he was sick for a long time and is finally fully recovered now, which makes him feel completely free. Even though he doesn't have his sword anymore, he gained so much confidence thanks to giving it to Mr. Lin, and he even got a book from Mr. Lin in return, which will help Joseph unlock even higher power levels. So this was a fair trade, he thinks. As he's walking down the rainy street, he plans to focus up and get used to this new change, which will allow him to be as powerful as he was at his peak. And bump. Just then he accidentally bumps shoulders with Ackerman, who apologizes to Joseph, and of course Joseph doesn't know who this is. So he gets immediately surprised because after feeling Ackerman's aura, he realized that Ackerman is a hunter with extremely pure source of tainted blood. By the way, bros, even the writers of this manhwa are calling this guy Ackerman now, and I think just like me, they forgot his real name, his first name, and are just going with Ackerman because everyone can remember this one more easily. So Joseph realizes that this guy is at least a destruction level hunter, but how there's no one of that power in the White Wolf clan, so maybe he's working alone, Joseph thinks. Joseph wonders what could this strong level hunter do in Nokin all of a sudden, but changes his mind and decides not to ask him about it, because it's too dangerous to interrogate someone of the destructive level, because this could cause problems to the secret instrument tower. Joseph also thinks how he didn't sense any killing intent from this guy, so he can just ignore him for now. We look at Ackerman and see his eyes glowing red in bloodthirst, and he even unsheathed his hidden blade because he also realizes Joseph is powerful and was getting ready to defend himself, which also means that he actually had murderous intent, but just he hid it so well that even Joseph couldn't sense it. But when Ackerman realized Joseph was walking away, he also calmed down and went his way. Now we go back to Joseph, who's talking on the phone to Claudie, asking him how's the mission going regarding the White Wolf clan and search for their hunters, to which Claudie responds that it's going smoothly, and Joseph asks him to do a research on the language of Kingdom of Elfaz, because the Candela sword had something inscribed on it on that language, which caused some intrigue with Mr. Lin. Joseph also warns Claudie to be careful when gathering intel on the white-haired solo hunter, because he's probably a destructive level hunter, so it would be for the best to gather as much intel about him as possible, but to be careful while doing it. Bros, I think it's safe to say that we're not getting to see what happened between Lucy and Claudie after they went to her office. Not cool, guys, not cool. So Joseph decides that he needs to relax a little bit, so he will take a week off from work because he has been working so hard for so long. As he goes home, he remembers he has some materials in his study room which he hasn't read for years that could contain some information about this ancient language. As he's entering his house, he thinks how it would be nice if Melissa didn't take it after him when it comes to reading, because she starts having headaches as soon as she starts reading books. But it's not that important, since a knight needs to know how to fight and not how to read. After entering his house, he gets completely surprised because there are books lying on the floor everywhere, as Joseph wonders what happened to cause this mess. He looks at the clock and figures this is the time when Melissa usually has dinner, but he can't smell or sense anyone or anything in the kitchen. He thinks how this is odd because Melissa is an excellent cook, and thinks about what food she might be cooking now if she was in the kitchen, because he is hungry and tired after work, so it would make sense for her to welcome his dad with a nice and warm meal, is what Joseph thinks. As he looks around the room to see what kind of books she was reading, he picks up one titled A Knight's Justice, and he remembers that the author of this book is Joseph Winston. Joseph the Radiant Knight remembers this Joseph the author, and remembers when this Joseph was a commander but got fired because of his combat style that was not suitable for other knights to learn from. But he wrote all about it in this book. Joseph was also a knight whose commander was Joseph. Come on guys, what's up with giving the same name to multiple characters in the same webtoon? I'm already struggling with remembering all the names, and now you do a brother like this? Anyway, Joseph the author was yelling how the way the knights fight should not only be chivalrous, and as long as you believe in the holy light, you can fight in any way, because chivalry is a burden in fight. Now, our Joseph, the Radiant Knight, remembers how his commander Joseph would prefer stealthy combat and the one of an assassin, stalking its prey and killing it from behind, using throwing knives and poisons to achieve his goals. His motto was, "Knights can kill people, but they are outsiders." As our Joseph is going through this book, he also remembers the first disciple of this Joseph the Assassin Knight, and how his disciple was also a troublemaker. I swear, if his disciple's name is also Joseph, I'm using this window in my room not for sunlight, but for jumping through. We learned the disciple's name, and his name was Hanayama. Oof, my life is saved. And this guy looks like the nerdiest, buffest dude in the history of the universe. Joseph remembers asking Hanayama about his mission, to which Hanayama responds by saying that if you can't win against your opponent, you train and study him well, and how this is what only the weak do. And then Hanayama tells Joseph a story of the Knight Order, and as he's trying to tell the story of a rogue knight, Joseph interrupts him, slamming his fist into wall and getting absolutely angry, saying that if you don't study your opponent and train because you don't want to look like you're weak, you expose yourself to unnecessary dangers. Now we go back to the present, and Joseph is just closing this book, thinking how he needs to stop remembering Hanayama now because it causes his blood pressure to rise. He looks at the books Melissa was reading and realizes that all of these books are about basics of becoming a knight, how even though these are fundamentals, for someone new to become a knight, this knowledge is still really useful. But for Melissa, these books should be useless because she was personally trained by Joseph, so he doesn't understand why she would read them now. He throws the book on the ground and marches towards Melissa's room, and as he enters the room and calls for her, he can see Melissa sitting at her desk reading books, while her room is swarming with books on all sides. This surprises Joseph as he yells, "Melissa, what are you doing?" Melissa, with a blank expression on her face, responds to her father saying that she's learning, which confuses him even more. And as he's slowly walking towards his daughter, he tells her that from what he remembers, she doesn't like reading books and learning this way, and she had this opinion ever since she was 4 years old. Melissa responds by saying that she was foolish and she didn't understand the true meaning of learning because she was ignorant back then, and how because of her limited potential she couldn't feel the joy of learning. She also says that if she could talk to her 4-year-old self, she'd beat her badly for having these opinions and then tell her to start learning. And while she's saying this, she has a crazy look in her eyes. Joseph grabs her by her head as he leans in closer to ask his daughter if she's okay, to which Melissa responds by saying that she has a clear head now and she never felt this good before because she finally understands her weakness and stupidity. She comments how she wasn't disciplined enough when she was younger, thus she gave up on reading and learning, which caused her to be weak and not reach her goal of becoming much more powerful, which causes panic for her now because she is such a failure. Joseph is left speechless because he can't recognize his dear, naive, and easygoing, but reckless and adorable daughter anymore. It's like someone switched places with her. But his thoughts get interrupted and he gets surprised after Melissa starts to blame him too, because as she says, his methods are barbaric and actually his experience has no methods, but how he doesn't need to worry anymore because Melissa already read all the books in this house, and even though she's older now and lost so much time, she can still find her own path and start again. Joseph, left surprised yet again, asks her if she really read all the books here, and she answers that she really did. So he asks her for how long has she been reading, and she comments how she borrowed all these books and have been constantly reading them for 3 days straight, as we see Joseph's hand flying towards her and grabbing the book out of her hands. With bloody eyes, because she has been reading so much, Melissa yells, "Daddy, what are you doing?" And as she's looking at Joseph, she starts feeling dizzy and faints. But before she hits the ground, Joseph catches her and puts her down slowly. As he turns around, he sees a special book on her table. Lightning strikes, and then we go back to Ackerman, who's standing in front of the Truth Society's headquarters, thinking how he never expected to come back here so soon. He thinks how he wishes there was no need for him to come to a place like this ever again, because he is a hunter, and it's hard for a hunter to fit in this environment, because a hunter's life consists of brute force and fighting, of chaos and madness. He thinks how hunters are just wild beasts disguised as normal human beings, and how this is the complete opposite of an organization like Truth Society, which is an institution built on rationality and knowledge. He also thinks how he can't smell anything special here, how all the members of the Truth Society have pretty much the same and average smell, and the only smell that spreads in the cold that they have is the smell of curiosity. As he's entering Andrew's office, he thinks that even though this place is so luxurious, its dullness can never be concealed, as Andrew comments and tells Ackerman that he is late. Ackerman responds, saying how hunters are never late and are also never early, and that hunters always arrive on time. Is this guy a hunter or a wizard? If you get this reference, let me know down in the comments below, broskies. I'm not gonna give you any more hints. It should be quite obvious. Now, Ackerman then asks Andrew if he only has more patience when ladies come to visit him, and if that's the case, he's sorry for his negligence. Ackerman comments. Andrew tells him to stop joking and start talking business, and asks him if he really wants to give up on his mission to hunt down and kill Old Wild. Ackerman, with a cocky smirk, says, "Can I not?" Bros, first of all, I want to thank you for watching this video, and I want to talk with you a bit now. I always talk a bit faster at the beginning of the video so people can watch the recap as soon as possible and not wait long for it to start. And these end parts of the videos are for true bros and chads. First of all, I want to apologize again for making these videos shorter last couple of days. It's because I'm working on another 2-hour-long video simultaneously, and I'm still getting used to this schedule, but hopefully next week I'll be able to make 2-hour long videos like once a week or twice a week, and the normal like 20-30 minute videos. And this 2-hour long video is probably gonna come out this weekend. I wanted to surprise you bros, but I'll tell you now, it's going to be 2 hours of new chapters of this manhwa we're going through right now, and it's going to be wild, like old wild. So be sure to leave some free time on Saturday probably to watch the video when it goes live. After I finish making it, I'll set it as a premiere so you'll know exactly when it will go live. And also one more thing, I want to apologize. I really want to apologize for not being able to answer all your comments. I really feel bad because I can't do it anymore, because we bros are growing so fast and there are so many new comments like every couple of minutes that I try to answer all of them, but I just can't do it physically. So I'm so sorry about this. I hope you understand. Stay awesome my bros, and peace.